Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of The Danny Show. I'm your host, Daniel Cody, and this is where I give commentary and reviews on all things wrestling. Thank you guys so much for joining. Let's talk about tonight's episode of NXT. Usually, this would be the go home show for NXT, but NXT has already had their pay per view, Stand and Deliver, and now all that's left is WrestleMania. And I'm going to be honest with you, having Pat McAfee as part of whatever that angle is kind of but if you really think about it, let me just say a couple of small things before I talk about NXT. I am excited about WrestleMania, but if I'm being honest, I want to tell you guys something. I think Pat is doing, I think this is a compliment to him. You got to remember, if we're angry, then Pat is doing his job, because his job is to make a heel's job is to make us angry, right? So if Pat McAfee is making us angry, isn't he doing his job? Just a thought. Give me your thoughts on that. But let's talk about tonight's NXT, because I am excited about WrestleMania. But let's talk about tonight's NXT. We have one of the new stars from Evolve, the former Evolve Women's Champion, making her debut. And with her charisma and her attitude, if she does well, we might be able to get her and Jada Parker as a dream women's match if it gets built up a certain way. I could be wrong, but it's just what I'm thinking. Speaking of Jada Parker, Parker and Kalani did really good tonight. I was rooting for Parker to win, obviously, as everyone else is. I am a Parker fan, and it has been confirmed that Jey Uso is a Parker fan as well. Jey Uso will be teaming with his brother and the honorary Uso of the night, LA Knight, to go up against the Vision and the very so cursed I Show Speed. But to go forward, Jay is a huge Parker fan, as we have learned recently over social media. The not so toxic part of social media. But they had a great match. Unfortunately, due to dirty tactics of Kalani is still your winner. And I don't know where this is going. I don't know where Parker goes from here. I don't even know if that rivalry is over, because it's 1-1. And we always need a good trifecta to put it into the story. So they might continue to go at it. I don't know. But moving forward, we saw that opening match was spectacular. It's so ironic. We opened the show with women performing. And I know if you're a woman, whether you're a female subscriber or just a female watching this, I know you have to be very happy about the times we're living in, because the women open the show and the women start the show. And Jerry Law is somewhere very happy about this. The only thing is, I wish him the best, but kayfabe wise, please understand, I respect him as a person and competitor. Kayfabe wise, his commentary and kayfabe character was annoying to me, because I guess for me, because of how I was raised and the morals that I was raised on. So hearing him say, "Puppies, JR, look at the puppies," that used to get on my nerves. But some people agreed with him. And fun fact, if I'm not mistaken, he learned that from Road Dogg before Road Dogg got saved. But nonetheless, pretty good night to be a fan of women's wrestling, and good night if you're a female and you're subscribed to this. Good night for you as well, because you get to see women do something besides show off in a way that they did back in Attitude. And people in the Ruthless Aggression era, if you think about it, there were good wrestlers in the Aggression era. Trish, Lita were Attitude. They started in Attitude, but they helped grow the Aggression era, along with Molly Holly. We all know how Molly Holly is. we had Victoria, Jazz. Oh gosh, remember Jazz? Jazz was tough. But moving forward, we also saw Joe Hendry. How come he never appears when I say his name? Okay, but Joe Hendry had his concert ruined, and Carver and Hendry are going to fight next week, and I have some very bad feelings about what could happen with Joe Hendry kayfabe wise. Of course, tonight's main event was Lola Vice versus JC Jane, and despite all outside interferences, Lola is still champion. I thought it was awesome to see Lola and Stephanie Vakir share a moment together, both as champions, women's champions of their respective shows, WWE shows. I think Liv and Stephanie are going to tear the house down. Liv is a part of some memes lately, including people memeing how they feel about Kathy Kelly getting attacked. Thankfully, Kathy Kelly doesn't have a knot in her head, because the last week, Liv Morgan had a huge knot just like right here. No, I'm not in the Illuminati. That's why I don't have my hand over my eye like that. I have my hand over my forehead. But it was this big. It was so big. It looked like that episode of Teen Titans with Starfire had that little thing that grew right there. It was that big. And Roxanne got a little bit of a knot as well. Thankfully for both of them, it is healed up. But it was great to see Stephanie Vakir and Lola share a moment. Lola was victorious tonight against JC Jane, a very game JC Jane. We saw Tony D'Angelo. By the way, I appreciate that Tony D'Angelo gave respect to Obafemi. And yes, I know it's hard to believe, but yes, only 2 people were able to defeat him in NXT. Ricky Saints, who got lucky and got his butt beat by the ruler eventually. Everybody must fall to the ruler. And Tony D'Angelo was lucky enough to get a victory over him the first and only time. But he gave respect to Obafemi. I really appreciate that. I am really looking for, I hope Oba wins. And Tony showed great deal of respect by supporting him, saying that he would slay the beast, while making the point that he is the only one so far, besides Ricky, to have defeated him. But Tony D'Angelo was successful, retaining his championship against Rick. No, that was Ethan Page, all butthole Ethan Page, and Miles Bourne gets to be entertained by Dark State's dissension while talking about his dessert. Come on. We all know what that meant. That was just devil's food, right? Devil's food. But in any event, I don't want to do anything that seems a little inappropriate, but he talked about having dessert, and we all know what he really meant about dessert. But let's keep this clean and wholesome. He got to see the dissension of Dark State. Of course, Ren Sinclair and Kendall Gray are still doing well right now. I don't want to put negative energy in their hair. I hope they stay together as long as possible. But in the meantime, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, what you thought about tonight's episode of NXT. I'm your host, Daniel Cody. That's all the time I have for you today. I cannot wait. This weekend is WrestleMania from Las freaking Vegas. I'm ready. Are you? Let me know what you think in the comments below. See you next time, folks. Stay safe. And if you are in Vegas and you're a fan of this channel, control your gambling. I know you people like to gamble over there. I've been there, but I knew how to gamble with a limit. But gamble with discipline. That's all I gotta say. If you are over there and you like to gamble, gamble with discipline. And if you're also like me and you're straight edge, cover your nose, because the mixture of cigarettes and alcohol, good music, but the smell of cigarettes and alcohol is just. Ugh. But have fun, gamble with discipline, and I will see you guys next time.